Ciao a tutti, siamo in diretta dal Microsoft Ignite, super ospite d'onore Jeff Woosley. Hi Jeff.
Hi there. My apologies, I speak no Italian.
It's not a problem. So Jeff, I want to talk with you about one of our favorite products, is Hyper-V. In Windows Server 2025, you've done a lot of improvement in this technology. Can you try to explain us what you do and what we have as a 98 admin now?
Yeah. So as a reminder, we use Hyper-V throughout Microsoft. We use it in Azure. We use it not only for Azure VMs, but we use it for Azure SQL and Azure PaaS. We use it for Windows Server. We use it for Windows Client. We use it for our Azure products, Azure Stack products, and our new Azure Local product. So Hyper-V is used through all of these different locations throughout Microsoft. Windows Server 2025 is delivering new features and new capabilities, such as GPU partitioning. This is really important for customers, for example, that want to use it for things like virtual desktops, they want to use it for AI. And with GPU partitioning, you essentially take a physical GPU and you're kind of cutting it up into smaller pieces. So if I have a GPU with 32 gigs of RAM, maybe I create a 4 gigabyte partition and assign it to one virtual machine, another 4 gigabyte partition, assign it to another. Or maybe I say it's a 16 gigabyte partition. And so it gives you the ability and flexibility to partition a physical processor into a virtual machine. Now I can use it within the VM for AI development, for containers, for all sorts of different use cases, but I actually have real access to the GPU. The other nice thing about it is because it's a portion of a physical GPU, you actually get consistent performance because that is a dedicated piece of silicon to the actual virtual machine. So it's completely isolated. You don't have to worry about any sort of security. It's isolated and you get a consistent performance. So GPU partitioning is new to 2025. And of course, you also get that with live migration.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we've been demoing throughout the week is, we're live migrating workloads that have GPUs running videos and AI actual applications and live migrating it between servers, and there's no disruption. It just all works. You get GPU-P with both live migration and high availability, so both of those as well. And then also in terms of Hyper-V, there's a whole host of other new features. So for example, one very popular one is workgroup clusters. So we've had a number of customers say, I use Hyper-V in my data center, I use it in my branch offices, but I'd actually like to do some more edge deployments. And sometimes those edge deployments may not have Active Directory readily available. And so you can deploy Windows Server 2025 on a smaller number of servers in a workgroup without having to join Active Directory, but you still get live migration, you still get failover clustering, and it still works.
Sure.
So those are a couple of the features right off the top of the bat.
Yeah, and about this part, probably nobody knows, or not all the people knows that it's the same core of Azure Local. And
yes.
So it's now we have the same feature in Windows Server 2025 and as well in Azure Local.
That's right. I'm actually in what we call the Core OS division, and in the Core OS division, we actually build the core components, which is the kernel, the hypervisor, the storage stack, the networking stack, security capabilities that go into the Core OS, that goes into Windows Client, Windows Server, Azure Stack, and into Azure Host, as well as Azure Local. And so the beauty of that is, as we deliver new features, sometimes a feature will start in Azure, come down into Azure Local. Maybe a feature starts in Windows Server and it goes up to Azure. Maybe a feature starts in Azure Stack or Azure Local and goes to Azure and Windows Server. So because we use these technologies all over the place, and really Hyper-V is a strategic technology at Microsoft. We quite literally use it everywhere, and the customers get benefits from that.
Sure. Another important feature is Hotpatch. Hotpatch
Yes.
is now part of Windows Server. It was since 2022.
Yes.
But now it's part of 2025 for all the people.
Hot patching is really an incredible technology. We delivered it in Windows Server 2022 Azure Edition, which was available on Azure or Azure Stack HCI. After we released it and people started using it, it's become the #1 feature request for Windows Server 2025. And quite specifically, customers told us, we want to be able to use hot patching anywhere. We want to be able to use it on physical machines. We want to be able to use it on virtual machines and outside of Azure properties. In fact, maybe even in other clouds. So what we delivered in 2025 is ARC-enabled hot patching. And what this means is I can ARC-enable Windows Server Standard or Windows Server 2025 Data Center. And now I can enable hot patching from the cloud, and I can patch my servers using Azure to hot patch all of my servers wherever they reside, physical, virtual, or even other clouds.
Included the Hyper-V host.
Even including your Hyper-V host, yes. We can pretty much hot patch anything except for .NET Framework. .NET Framework is the one thing that we cannot hot patch, but the hypervisor itself, it's fantastic.
And talking about it 1 year ago, or probably 2 years ago, when we spoke about during the MVP Summit, you told me probably we deliver Hotpatch for Windows Client, and you don't.
I'm thrilled that we announced that this week, and a lot of people were pretty shocked to hear that. We delivered hot patching again in Windows Server 2022. Customers said, we really want this all over in Windows Server, and they also said, we would love to have this on our client devices. And that's exactly what we announced this week with Windows 11. So you're going to see hot patching coming out to Windows Client as well.
It's a great feature.
I will also say one other area where hot patching has been well received is for physical machines running SQL Server. So one thing we've seen is there's a lot of people that, while they virtualize SQL Server, there's some folks that still have mission critical scale up SQL Server workloads. These are big systems with dozens of cores. They're filled with lots of memory, like 1 terabyte of memory, 8 terabytes of memory per host, okay? So to patch that and reboot that, to reboot a server with that much memory can take over a half an hour.
Oh, wow.
And so all of a sudden now, you're telling me I can hot patch it and I don't even need to reboot the server.
Yeah.
So for SQL Server running on physical, hot patching is a huge, huge improvement.
So yeah, probably is a different point of vision. Is not only with the virtual machine, the reboot time is very faster, but for the physical machine with dedicated workload, with tons of memory or strategic workloads, Hotpatch is a game changer because you can take update on your server. You just need to reboot every 4 months. So is a great starting point if you want to stay updated and safe in your infrastructure.
Yeah, the way hot patching works, and I'm glad you mentioned that, is hot patching, we basically, you go from rebooting 12 times a year or every month to 4 times a year, where you have to reboot once a quarter. And the reason why is we will roll out a patch on January, then February and March go by. When April rolls around, we will synchronize all of the patches together, which means that one will require a reboot. Then you go another few months without a hot patch, and then you reboot. And the reason why is because a hot patch is specifically scoped to security fixes only. There's no other payload for like optional components or feature components. None of that is included in a hot patch. It's solely security. So we're very, very scoped on that. And then when we synchronize the rest of the updates, then we'll require the reboot once a quarter.
And this is very faster to deploy.
It's much faster to deploy. And with a hot patch, because it's smaller, it's faster to deploy. And the other thing is, once the hot patch is completed, it's secure at that point, because we are patching in memory, running processes without requiring a reboot. You don't need to require a reboot of the process or the server. It's patched in real time.
It's amazing. So it's time to download the Windows Server 2025.
Absolutely. So number one, if you're a software assurance customer, you already own Windows Server 2025. So please download it, start evaluating it, and start taking advantage of that. If you're not a software assurance customer, or you can download the Windows Server 2025 evaluation, so you can get started on that. And it's a 6-month evaluation, so you can take a look at the new features. We've only talked about Hyper-V, by the way. There's a whole host of new features in Windows Server 2025 for Active Directory, for security, for file services, for SMB, for software-defined networking, for storage, for Hyper-V, for the server experience, new applications like Terminal, package management like Winget, all sorts of new capabilities. This is the biggest release of Windows Server in a long time. Please try it.
The last part, the last thing is pay as you go.
I didn't even mention pay-as-you-go. So yes, there's a new option in Windows Server 2025. We introduced a new subscription option. And the reason why was we run into some customers that say, you know what, I've deployed Windows Server 2025 Standard Edition, and comes with 2 virtual machines. But now the holiday season rolls around. It's November, it's December, it's January, and I need some extra VMs, I need some extra capacity. So I want to license a copy of Windows Server for November, December, January, February, March, but in April I'll turn it off. So with pay-as-you-go, you could basically install Windows Server 2025, use the pay-as-you-go option, you use it every month, and when you're done, turn it off, and you're no longer paying for it. Very flexible.
Absolutely.
So it's just a new option in addition to all of the existing perpetual license options that are available.
Available with Azure Arc.
Yes.
Perfect. So, thank you so much,
Oh,
Jeff.
my pleasure. Thank you.
Grazie a tutti, ci vediamo al prossimo video. Ciao!